And to provide more analysis, joining us from Beijing, Mr. Inar Danjin, Senior Fellow at the Thai Institute and Chairman of Asia Narratives Substack, and from London, Dr. Mohsen Salamoni, Political Economics Professor at London University. Welcome, sir, to Think Tank, and both our distinguished guests. Mr. Tangini, we start off with you. Does China see Macron's Ukraine ceasefire request as a chance to deepen its sway in Europe or a threat to Beijing's Moscow alignment?
Neither. Quite frankly, Macron, whose popularity ratings are dismal, somewhere between 12 and 14%, the last poll that I looked at, is trying to look more like de Gaulle. He wants to, say that he's standing up for France, but he does not represent the EU. He doesn't have that role, and certainly there's so many divides within the EU. This idea that somehow France is the key part of it is nonsense. You have north, south, east, west, all vying in different directions. It is a body which has 26 members. Unfortunately, very few disagree. And unfortunately, they're looking to expand as if having complete disunity will be solved by adding more voices.
Sir,
so at this point,
sorry to interrupt you, can you elaborate more about they are looking to expand in who are they are quote user?
Well, the EU has been looking to expand. Turkey is in there. I believe I can't recall off the top of my head, but I remember there were 6 or 7 names that were in there, mostly expanding into areas of the south. Turkey would be a huge one for the EU, but it would bring a very different perspective. I don't think that would be a controversial statement in itself. But adding more people to a dysfunctional body will not make it work. So if that's your question, I would stand by that. In terms of how China views this, they are looking for trends. They're looking for sincerity. They have this sense that what Macron is really asking for is for them to intercede with Russia, which is not going to happen because they don't have the ability to call up Putin and say, do this or do that. Nor would Putin have the ability to call up Xi Jinping and say, hey, you should do this or that on Taiwan. So at this point, he's asking for something that he, is impossible for China to give. But on the other hand, he's not offering anything from Europe.
Sir, why do you see that it is impossible for China to give in light of the relation between China and the United States at this point as we talk in this interview?
Well, it's called sovereignty. That's this notion that these countries are going to do what they believe is in their best interests. Putin is winning the war in Ukraine. He's not interested in what China thinks. China was not happy about the Ukrainian war. It cut off a large part of the Belt and Road alternative routes that they had going through Ukraine. But the issue is that, they feel that Russia was provoked. In 2014, there was a political putsch that was backed by the US and the EU. There was attempts to solve it. And unfortunately, both Macron and, not Macron, I'm sorry, Hollande, who was the president of France, and Merkel, who was the head of Germany, both admitted afterwards that they had no intention of abiding by this peace claim. So this idea that somehow one leader can tell another leader what to do, I think that's a very novel idea. Donald Trump attempts to do it all the time, but that's not a really serious question. If you're saying that China will ruin its relationship with Russia by doing this, by threatening to withhold, whatever, stop buying oil or something like that. No, that's not going to happen. China has its own interests. It's been battered by the US. It's under a containment policy, the same way that Russia is. And they are going to band together against what they perceive as a common threat. Does that answer your question?